What's up, Pats Nation? Episode, I don't even know what episode it is. Andrew, you got me on that? What episode are we on? Oh, man, you came in quick with that. Who's counting? Just kidding. Episode, there you go. Mike's always got the right answer for me. Episode 11, Pat's Tailgate Party Podcast. We're back, better than ever. I think I stole that from somebody. But anyway, we're back. We're excited to be here. You probably see we got a new addition on the show, so we're gonna go around the horn here, and but I'm gonna bring our guest in first, right? That's the polite thing to do. So you see some familiar faces on here. We also have a new face. I believe that would be Chub from BSJ, Boston Sports Journal. Chub, how are you today, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. My real name's Doug, but I think we've got two Dougs and two Mikes here, so call me Chubbs today.
That's it. So Doug and AK Chubbs, thanks for joining us again. All five of us members of Boston Sports Journal. If you haven't checked out Boston Sports Journal, you got to do it. Best Patriots coverage you can find. BostonSportsJournal.com. Greg Bedard puts on a great product there, and you should check it out. All right, so to my right here, we also have my brother, Winter Coats, Andrew Lakis. Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm good. Good to be back. Took a little reprieve last week.
Yeah, we lost some viewership. We lost some viewership with you out of here.
What are we up to, like 41 now?
Yeah, I think we're up to 41, but it could have been 45 if you would have been here. But nah, man, welcome back. And then we got Mike from Stoneham. Mike, how are you today?
Fantastic.
All right, man. Always bringing the awesome backgrounds too, which I love. I love it.
Got to mix it up.
That's right, man. D. Lakis, Doug Lakis below me. Doug, how you doing today?
Hi, guys. Welcome, Chub.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
It's
Nice
awesome.
to meet you, sir.
Awesome. By the way, Chubb, you took the invite, which I love. All you need is a computer and a microphone and a camera or a phone. Dad uses a cell phone, which is great, to join the party. We want everybody to join the party. Send me an email, patstailgateparty@gmail.com, patstailgateparty@gmail.com. Come join the fun. We got as many Zoom. We can just get this grid filled up and have a true tailgate party here. So join us for sure. All right, let's kick right into it. Big win on Sunday. Kind of one of those games we kind of had where we start the gauntlet. I think, Mike, we talked about last week, right? And so not to be mistaken, the Titans were pretty beat up, missing their two best receivers, missing arguably the best running back in the NFL. But if you read about, if you've gotten on Boston Sports Journal, Bedard talks a lot about what happened in the trenches, and I don't know if there's a tougher team that we've played that has beat us up on both sides of the line. Surprising to see the Titans run for 200-plus yards and still get blown out ultimately, which is I think there was some record I saw on Twitter the other day that teams that allow teams to run for 200 yards are like 387-1 or something like that. So add to that win column, that slim win column. But, guys, let's kick it over. Any takeaways, anything you liked from the game, anything you didn't like from this win against the Titans?
It's all about turnovers in this case, right? If they don't turn them over, what was it, 3-4 times, and this game goes very, very differently.
I think too, we talked about it last week. It was going to be a difficult game from the standpoint it's hard to play teams that are injured. I mean,
right.
You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you can't prepare for the same guys that you normally would prepare for. And I think that was kind of evident. And we said last week the Titans weren't going to lay down.
Right.
I mean, they came out and actually, punched the Patriots right in the mouth. And thankfully, some like Mike just said, turnovers. The turnover train continued. And, I was a little concerned as I put on Boston Sports Journal about their run package last week. They went back to the small run package again, and a small package on the field with the safeties, as linebackers. That didn't work. And, they won the game. A win is a win. Huge win.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. For some reason I got to look at BSJ. So I'm the one hyping it up, and then I guess I haven't looked at it. I saw on Twitter, I thought they ran base more often, but they ran the smaller set, Dad, more often?
there was a number of times I think they had Phillips
down in the box.
In the box.
Gotcha.
And actually on the long touchdown run right before the end of the first half, that's what I think they had out.
Gotcha. All right. Andrew, Chubbs, what did you guys think? Any takeaways for you guys?
I was at the game. It was awesome to be there with my father-in-law and my two boys.
Nice.
We froze our butts off, but I'd say my overall take on that particular game is, giving up, getting gashed on the ground like that reminds me of the Dallas game, 4th and 25, and it just feels like that's going to bite us in the ass in the playoffs.
Yep.
I was a lot higher on Mac's performance than Greg and some other folks apparently.
Me too.
Because the kid's a rookie, and we're playing 3 rookies heavily and a lot of new people, and we're 8-4, and we've got the number 2 seed. So, like I said on BSJ, this glass is way more than half full. We're almost playing with house money at this point, because we've already won more games than last year, which is sort of a nightmare I don't want to keep dredging up. And to have games that matter, and games, even the Dallas game and the Tampa Bay loss and the Miami loss, we were in it right till the last minute in all of those games, edgier couch football. Can't ask for anything more than that, and the team's pointed in the right direction. So I'm concerned. I think they're going to get killed in the playoffs, maybe second round, because of the lack of being able to stuff the run when they need to.
Okay.
And, I think it's been a mirage for 6 weeks, a little bit on the defense because of the competition, but I'm not going to harp on it too much, because this team also is very tough. Mike Vrabel's an incredible coach. The team takes on that coach's persona, and they play tough. That was going to be a rock fight, whether they had all their stars or not. So I'm really pumped for the rest of the season.
Hey, Chubbs, let's jump right into Mac for a second, because I think, first of all, our timing's limited, and you were in the stands, and certainly it's hard watching broadcasting today on TV, because they're trying to give you a flavor for everything, and so it's really hard unless you can get the all 22 or you're in the stands to get a feel for how a quarterback is seeing the field and how the play is developing. Tell us what you thought exactly of how Mac was doing it, and whether you thought the receivers were running the right routes and he was not getting it to them, or they were disrupting timing. Give us a take. I mean, you said you thought Mac played better. Tell us a little bit more why.
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing is, if you remember the first maybe 5 or 6 games of the year, he was getting hammered and still completing 70% of his passes. I think on Sunday it was a little bit of a mixed bag. He had some good protections and clearly blew a few wide open passes. And that's going to happen. I mean, Tom Brady was sailing passes when he was in here a month and a half ago. And so you got to expect that from a rookie. But, I think, Mike, the big thing is you look at, like, there was a couple of times where blitzers were coming in and Max saw it and he held the ball till the last minute and then he got rid of it. He didn't panic. He knew exactly how long he had to get rid of that ball. He might take a hit. Kid's tough. And so you really see the pre-snap stuff as much as anything now with him. And for a rookie, the way he's composed, clearly they've had some delay of games, and I think that's sort of going away. But my take is he's just got a command of the game like no rookie that I can remember. And the other part, I guess, for me is it's nice to see that the receivers are making him look good here and there. You got to admit that some of those guys are really balling and making some great catches. And so I think it's a combination. I think he's growing. I think Tennessee threw some stuff at him that he wasn't expecting to see. Vrabel's a smart coach, but my overall take on Mac is, for a guy that's 12 games in, you can see him processing before the snap, and he's already slowed the game down when the blitz is coming and when people are coming at him. He's not panicking by any stretch. In fact, I'd say there's been a few times in the last few years where I saw Brady just get rid of the ball faster than Mac because he said, screw it, we'll get it on the next play. Maybe to a fault, Mac holds it a little bit longer as a rookie, and he's taken a couple of hits he shouldn't hit, but he's also completing some of those. So kudos.
I mean, so Andrew, I'm gonna clear it out for you, because I think there's you on your comments. I think you agreed more with Greg, right? So what did you see?
I agree with Greg completely, but I think it's nuanced. I mean, I actually think everything you just said, Doug, resonates. Like I mean, Mac is. I love him. I love where this team's at. I'm all in. But I do think I was listening to Bedard on Big Boy Tuesday last night, and he said something that I think frames this whole thing. That originally we were comparing Mac to other rookie quarterbacks, or to where he should be at this point in the season, and that he's kind of moved past that now. Like, the team has arrived. We're talking about them as a potential serious playoff contender, and that he's now grading Mac against himself. That's how I watched Sunday. It wasn't that he was bad. I mean, they won the game. He avoided any terrible mistakes, but he wasn't as good as he could have been. I mean, he missed open guys. He made some weird decisions with where to go the ball. I think the weather threw him off. I'm going to be honest with you. His touch did not look right all day, including the one he threw into the ground where Bourne was wide open. I mean, it just seemed like maybe he wasn't gripping the football the way he normally does. But I don't think it's like Mac's bad. I just think it's like, oh, I've bought into this. Earlier in the year, we talked about expectation setting and like we had to let go of the old Patriots and enjoy the ride. I think we need to now shift expectations in the other direction. This team is a legitimate contender. We'll know more after Monday night. If they go into Buffalo and really struggle and get blown out, then maybe next week we'll reset expectations again. But if we're talking about a team that could go 11-6, 12-4, no, I guess 12-5, and really make some noise, then we got to grade Mac on that scale. I mean, in a playoff game against Mahomes, he can't miss Hunter Henry on a wide open touchdown. Like he just can't.
Right.
Can't do the things he did. That's more where it comes from for me. It's less like Mac is bad, and it's more like our expectations should shift now, and we need to hold him to a little bit higher bar.
One quick comment on that, Andrew. I do agree with that in general. Since we're all BSJ members, I guess my take was I'm the one that put the link to Barstool Sports there and Jerry's article. I think that when Mac is 72% completion and 120 something rating, that criticism is fair, but you also, the compliment sandwich to him and to the subscribers isn't a bad thing. You can acknowledge that he did some good stuff, and I think everything was a laser focus on what he was doing wrong. And for a rookie, even though he's advanced as far as he is, throw him a couple bones and throw the subscribers a couple bones too, because the kid's playing great.
I don't call him a blanket a reason for nothing.
That's it, man. Yeah. Come on.
Hey, to your point, when the guy's playing so well, and he has played, and again, the rookie thing, he's played phenomenally. When he does make a mistake, it is magnified. It's
sure.
Where'd that come from? But 72% of the time he's been right on the money, and the weather, okay, he hasn't played in it before,
right.
So that will get better as it goes, and it better get better this week because when he's going to be worse next week in Buffalo.
Well,
so if that's the case,
I look. I think a couple of things. I think if Chubb's, I agree with your take. I think, if he's going to have 120 plus rating, complete that many passes and throw for 300 yards. It's hard for me to beat yes, I get the compliment sandwich, and I think you're right. But to kind of drag him through the mud a little bit of how bad he played when I'm looking at that stat line, maybe I'm just a stat hunter and I shouldn't do that. But, again, and maybe I'm comparing to what we saw last year and just being able to move the ball down the field. But, I still think now if you've listened to the show long enough, where I got to disagree with you, though, is that, and you brought this up about the games we were close in, and this could be a one-loss team. And I got to be honest with you, I think this team, if they can shore up the run defense, which they had plenty of time to do, and you get this this type of gritty, tough team in the playoffs, and somehow you get a bye or somehow you get a home game. Sure, they could get run all over. Mac could puke himself. Hopefully he doesn't do that. But I don't see that. I think this team could go a long way. I got to give this breaking news. This just came through on my phone. Speaking of Mac, I can't. Yeah, that's right. I can't. Listen, breaking news. Wrong sound effect. My bad. Breaking news. Mac eyeing his own clothing brand. MJ10, Mac Jones, Mac MJ10, Pat's rookie QB files trademark for MJ10.
Hunter Henry on an open touchdown. I don't need pants for Mac.
Well, it reminds me of another quarterback that had their own clothing brand.
Yeah, I didn't need any of that from him either. I just needed touchdowns too.
Oh, man.
Mike Davis, one quick thing on the run game. Barmore didn't play as much as he has been playing. He was hurt. He's hurt a little bit. And about halfway through, I noticed that I think there were 2 or 3 series in a row he wasn't out there. That makes a big difference in this run defense.
Oh, huge!
I just want to add that.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago about how huge a difference it is when they play more of a base, right? Where they've got enough linebackers on the field to actually fill those gaps. And look, Bentley's come a long way.
Sure.
But he was getting smoked by that guard.
Oh,
Bedard did a great job of showing that guard was getting to the second line and completely just taking Bentley out. And it will help to get an Uche back or somebody. Like, you just need that fourth linebacker out there who's got the smarts to get in there and fill that slot. And you're right. Duggar can't do it, right? He can't get in there and take on a guard. The kid's like, what, 215?
That kid's playing like a runaway freight train right now.
Who, Duggar?
He is hit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's flying around.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
hitting
but Coach,
everything in
you
sight.
nailed it, right? You nailed it, right? When Phillips and Duggar are getting to play what they're meant to play, they play great. But if you're trying to put them in there to go in, take on a fullback or a guard, that's a mismatch all day long.
Andrew, I feel like you got a thought.
On Duggar, sorry, but I think on Duggar, it seems like the game slowed down a little bit for him now.
Right.
He's thinking less and reacting, and he's able to use those skills.
That's right. That's right. So, Andrew, go ahead.
I just think from a fan perspective, it's just been a lot of fun to watch.
Sure has.
You know, I mean, this is what we talked about earlier in the year, and part of why we said you had to reset expectations is that you got to enjoy the ride a little bit and the journey. And they've just, you know, they have letdowns. They weren't perfect last week, but they're just getting better. I mean, every week you execute a little bit better. Somebody steps up and makes a play. It's actually been a lot of fun to watch Kyle Duggar kind of start to get more comfortable. I still don't think he's there. I mean, when he starts to trust his instincts, he's going to be unbelievable. But I think just as a whole, it's been fun to watch him get better.
I agree.
Warren is getting the hang of it. It's just fun.
That's right.
To Andrew's point, you know, 8 games ago, had they given up 270 on the ground, they get blown out.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So this time they win by 3 touchdowns.
That's the difference in the team.
They're finding other ways to win. And it is fun. It's a ball to watch and play.
I feel a lot like this team. And Mike, before I know you got to get out of here, so I want to get to your debate for a few minutes because I think it's a good one on the 11th episode. But this team feels a lot like 01, man. Like and what I mean by that is the difference is 01 this has higher expectations because of the last 20 years. But 01, like the way they find ways to win, they're tough. You know, the 01 team probably would have had a better run defense. Definitely did. But this just feels like you never know what this team could do. That Chub, they could get blown out in the second round of the playoffs, to your point. So could the 01 team. That team could have got blown out too. But they could also win the Super Bowl, is how I feel.
Let's just put it this way. You know, Parcells talked a lot about, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. Are you a mistake repeater?
That's
One
right.
of the things that was kind of maddening in the first 4 years was seeing the same thing over and over again, giving up the edge, giving up that block. If Mac learns from these mistakes and learns how to play in bad weather, then they're going to go far, right? As they continue to take and stop making the same mistakes, that will take them far. If they, you know, they keep giving up the edge, if they keep coaches too, right? If they keep putting little guys on the field and they keep getting blown up by big guys and they don't make that adjustment, then that's what's going to limit their capabilities, just in my opinion, as a fan.
So one other quick follow-up. One other factor is luck. They've been having great luck with injuries and some bounces of the ball too. And that happened in 01 for sure. There's so many plays from that year that stand out, and there's a bunch from this year already.
Absolutely. It's a great call. All right, Mike, I'm going to clear it out for you, man. You had a great debate that you want to bring us through on the 11th episode. 11th episode, big time for the Past Tailgate Party podcast. Didn't think we'd make it this far. Mike, what do you got?
Just who do you think was the more impactful number 11 for this team in the history of the franchise? I mean, it's easy to think in recent bias that JE11 was the best one, but I mean, I don't even think they're in New England if it's not for Bledsoe. And I don't even know that Brady's Brady if it's not for Bledsoe. So the more I thought about it, I was like, hey, that's not a slam dunk that, you know, JE11's the best 11. So I wanted to hear that, you know, there's a lot of smart fans here. I figured I'd ask, what do people think?
All right. I'm just going to throw it out there. What do you guys
said earlier when I was talking about it, you know, right away, everybody thinks, well, Edelman, of course, has made this thing go for so long. It doesn't go anywhere, I don't think, without Bledsoe. I mean, they drafted him in 93. They were terrible. That started to kind of flip the script a little bit. And then they get into the 2001 season. He gets hurt, which changes the whole dynamic. And then they go to the AFC Championship game. He steps in, wins the game for them.
Yep.
So they don't probably go to the Super Bowl that year without Bledsoe. I know a lot of people would argue that with me. Then, you know, the next 20 years is obvious. But I think it all started with Bledsoe, that number 11. And that's just my take.
So Bledsoe, Chubbs, Andrew?
I'll go since I have to get off in a minute. Boy, that's a tough one. You know, your twins are drowning. Which one do you save? So I'd have to say that's like a coin flip for me because, Parcells, Bledsoe years, #1 draft, put us on the map and we mattered. And, I met Drew a few times and he was a classy guy. He still is. I feel like he represented the brand and built the brand well. And, he's a guy to this day. I know he drinks wine now and he has a winery, but that's the age-old question. Do you want to have a beer with the guy? And I'd rather have a beer with him than Tom Brady any day of the week, to be honest with you. And obviously Edelman is a lunch pail guy, came out of nowhere. He was a quarterback in high school and has the hardware to back it up and brought a tough-nosed attitude to the team. So I love them both. I could not choose. I think those are two linchpins in the last 30, 40 years in the organization. And, hats off to both of them.
All right, Andrew, bring us home before 3 of us have to jump and go do our real jobs.
Chubb's letting both twins drown.
It's awesome.
No, I feel similarly. I mean, gosh, what a debate to start this segment. I love them both. I mean, Bledsoe is what got me hooked on the Patriots as a young boy. I had all of his cards, his jersey, posters all around my room. And Chubb, you couldn't have said it better. He's just the class act. Like, what a great guy. Even this past Sunday, the way he embraced Mac in the locker room was just like, man, that's just a
awesome
cool dude. I vote Bledsoe just because he was my guy and I got to stick with him. I will tell you the one thing that gets under talked about with Julian Edelman, just to sneak in, and N'Keal Harry still has a promising future, is that he was terrible for his first 3 years. He couldn't stay on the field. He did nothing. And he ended up being one of the greatest Patriots receivers of all time. So, if I can sneak in a little, I still believe in N'Keal Harry. I'll sneak it in there and I'll pass it to you, Mike.
All right, so I'm going to go, maybe it's a generational thing. I liked watching Bledsoe, but I was pretty young when Bledsoe was coming in, and I got him as I got a little bit older in the early 2000s, but I got to go Wally Pipp, man. I mean, Julian Edelman taking over for Welker, and just to your point, Andrew, what he did to fight for 3 years. Some of the great, I mean, that catch in the Atlanta Super Bowl was just, I watch that sometimes just on replay, and Chubbs, to your point, the toughness that he brought on. I don't think in Brady's late years or later years, Brady's Brady without having that guy on the field. Flying squirrel, man. I mean, he's one of my all-time favorite Patriots, and there's just nothing like watching him sprint and to the other side, coming out of the tunnel and getting the crowd fired up. Like, I just love that guy. I love Bledsoe, but if I got to pick one, if I got to pick a twin, I'm going Edelman. Mike from Stoneham. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, real quick before I go. I was at the Titans game where we lost to them in the playoffs, and I spent money on some seats right behind the bench. And it was really cool for me to be there with my boys, and Brady and Edelman were sitting together that whole game, even though it was morbid. But just seeing them and the camaraderie that they had, that was all part of that too. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Mike from Stoneham, you got to get out of here, right?
Good luck, everybody. I hope the team does well Monday night.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Take care, Mike.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Thanks for joining, Chubbs. Hope we see you again soon.
Oh, for sure. Man. The invite's always open. All right, we're back. We've slimmed the pool down a little bit here. We got the original 3. Thanks again for Mike from Stoneham and Chubbs for joining us again. If you haven't had a chance to jump on Boston Sports Journal, you got to do it. That's where these great fans are coming from. It's where we come from. Greg Bedard puts on a great program there. So, all right, guys. So we had the 11 debate. I'm just going to tease for the next show because we got to get Mike back in. We got to get Chubbs. Got some other folks that want to come on, but we got to have the debate at some point. So just be thinking about greatest Pat's uniform of all time. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to put it on the table. We don't have to discuss it today. I think it'll be a pretty decisive argument, or divisive argument rather, but just want to put that out there for future shows because I think it's fun to talk about. And I got to be honest, Andrew, you were talking about Bledsoe earlier. I'm just going to tease a little bit more, and I was on Bleacher Report. They picked Bledsoe as the all-time number 11, by the way, on the Pats. Just throwing that out there. And he's in his 90s white. Oh, boy, that thing is fire, son. That thing is just fire. So, we can debate that for later, but he's throwing in those silver pants and that 90s white. That's tough to beat. All right. So Let's just jump in, man. I think we got to get into a little bit of Monday night talk because this is the biggest game of the year, and I think normally we spend a little bit less time on the upcoming game, but what makes us nervous, what makes us excited. This is just a class. It's going to be snowing in Buffalo on Monday night. Really? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like 18 degrees and snowing. So if you got weather concerns with Max and get ready, buddy. You guys, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pull up the forecast here. I'm just going to pop the forecast up. Buffalo, New York. Go ahead, Andrew.
I just got to go to the forecast or we get the forecast. I don't think it'll be. So here's the thing about my Mac criticism. He's shown a propensity to get better every single time. So I'd imagine we actually see a better version on Monday night than we did on Sunday. Like, this is normal. I do have a little bit of concerns about the weather, and I don't think they can't be overcome. He can practice and get reps. But I was thinking about this on Sunday. I'm not sure Max ever played a single game outside of the South, has he?
We grew up in Florida, right?
Grew up in Florida.
Yeah, he played at Alabama.
In Jacksonville. Played his high school football in Jacksonville. Played at Alabama.
And every game they play late in the year is in a dome.
Yeah, that's right. So if he has played out of the American South, it's been in a dome. That was probably his first cold weather game on Sunday. And
he threw for 300 yards and completed 73% of his passes. And
I think Monday night, the key Monday night, we've talked about it a lot. And it's part of the formula for being successful in December, January. And is the run game has to come through. They play action pass about as well as anybody. The weather's going to be cold. They're away. They got to be able to run the ball.
Well, so Dad, with that in mind, is going to be, you want fan take right here? Fan take, hot take time? Then you guys are think I'm crazy. Then give Damian Harris the ball, right? But I want more touches for the other guy, Ramondre Stevenson, because that cat is an absolute stud. Like in the playoffs, that's who I want to give the ball to more than Damian Harris. You might think I'm crazy because Harris is a straight line runner. He's a brutal runner. But watching, Ramondre Stevenson looks like young, early Le'Veon Bell out there, man. Like slow, like patient, like just shifty. I can't even, I was getting tingles the other day watching him run the ball and watching him move between blockers. Like, oh man, that cat is just, and he's a rookie, man. He's still got the baby fat on him. He's going to get stronger. I don't know. I want more Ramondre touches and give some of those Damian touches to him. I could be crazy, but he just feels like that type of guy.
They're blessed to have two real good running backs back there. The touchdown Stevenson had was crazy on Sunday, and then Harris came back with a great run as well. They both finished the runs. But to my point, I think Monday night's key on the ground. They got to find a way.
Well,
they struggled in the first half running the ball against Tennessee.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, so let me give you, but I think the game plan there is what you talked about. I don't know if we can bring up some of Dad's text. He had some classics on Sunday, a couple not safe for works. But they made Mac beat him in the first half. And Brable's smart. Sure. He's going to make Mac beat him. He's not going to let them run the ball like that. And then they did what we talked about. Now, my heater's over, by the way, because my prediction on the score and everything was wrong. I was on a bit of a heater, Andrew. You missed that last week from a prediction standpoint. But what I was right about, and what we were all right about, was that Vrabel was going to annoy the defense and take 4 or 5 yards, really grind the game out, and he did that. And that's real frustrating for a defense. Let me give you the forecast, by the way. Monday night forecast, low of 28 with a chance of wintry mix, rain and snow. So not just snow. It's going to be there's a possibility that it's just going to be nasty, which, by the way, I got to be honest with you. Forget Mac's arm for a minute. In a rainy, nasty, snowy game, that slows down the Bills, man. That slows down Josh Allen's chooch where he's throwing it 80 yards downfield and running all over they can't do it. It's not the same game. I love the fact that it's a nasty game like that. I don't want to fast track against that team.
Yeah. Well, I don't want fast track against that team either.
I'm just excited that they're in a position they're in where they're going to Buffalo
or get a big game
playing in a big game. Could they get beat up Monday night? Yeah, of course they could. Or they could beat up the Bills. The Bills weren't expecting to see the Patriots in December and the Patriots be in first place. I'm just telling you that. I mean,
No, it's going to be a grind, though. I mean,
sure.
The weather's interesting. I just remember, I mean, Brady, even when we were owning the Bills for like 15 years, Monday night, there were a couple Monday night football games in Buffalo that were still just a slog.
Oh, yeah.
Those folks are going to be eating wings and drinking. I don't know people Buffalo drink. But they're going to be doing that all day.
They're going to be lubed up.
It's going to be wild. And Mac's never seen anything like that either, I don't think.
No, but I think, I mean, the key, I say all that to say the key to Monday's game, I'm fairly convinced, is like, can Belichick spin the dial and get, Josh Allen all tied up in a pretzel like he normally does? I think they can. And so then, can Mac make enough plays and not turn the ball over? I mean, that's the key. You can't turn the ball over and give Buffalo extra.
No.
So what I'm concerned about, though, is that we see big game. McDaniels comes in. Exactly what you just said. Matt can't turn the ball over. So now we revert to like the first 3 weeks where it's ultra conservative play calling. And I don't want to see that.
I don't know that it'll be like that. And I think them losing White in the secondary is a big deal for the Bills. I mean,
absolutely.
That takes away a weapon in the secondary.
So and McDermott, Dad, you brought up the Pats being in first place. There was an interesting quote he had the other day where he was in his press conference and he said something. I don't have the quote in front of me, but he said something about, on Monday night, the number one in the AFC East, New England Patriots, are coming into our house or something like that. And the fact that he just called out the number one ranked New England Patriots, right? Which is, you said in the last episode that. And Andrew and I laugh sometimes because the narrative street stuff. But you said in the locker room that stuff matters. The bulletin board stuff, right? Like they hear that.
That'll be mentioned in the Bills locker room more than once this week.
Right. You still got to execute, though.
Sure.
I think with this matchup, it's the opposite, dude. I mean, so Matt, here's where it matters. Psychologically, it matters because it increases focus. Like there's no voodoo, there's no, professional football players. We've talked about before. They're going to go out and execute every week because if they don't, they may, suffer life-changing injuries. I mean, these guys have to be focused.
Right.
It gives a little extra focus when you get up for a game. It's a little bit different than college football. I think the thing about the Bills, and Bedard writes about this all the time. I mean, they have a Patriots complex all the time.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Last time they beat them, and McDermott was like crying on the sideline.
Go back.
But it's like, I mean, they're gonna. If anything, he might psych his team out in the other direction. Like, I mean, this is a big game.
Yeah, they might turtle. They might turtle in this thing.
Go back to Buffalo last year, and they're about to win the game if Cam doesn't drop the ball on the ground.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you talk about a complex. Holy cow,
Andrew! I think you might be onto something there. Like, I think if you focus and you get too into yourself or into your mind, I mean, next thing you know, you're out there and you got to execute. So the play starts happening. You're focused and you're frozen and you can't do what you thought you could do. And next thing you know, you're down. 28-3 or whatever the case. That was a bad score to give you. You're down 28-0 and the game's over. Like you've turtled already. So I think you're right. There could be something there.
As I said, I just want the thing to be competitive next Monday night. It's fun to be able to sit and watch a big game in December. We got accustomed to that. So, let's see. It's going to be
awesome, man. It's going to be awesome. Primetime Monday night game. All right, so let's do some predictions, and then we'll get out of here. What do you guys think? Monday night. Let's give you the breakdown here. Monday Night Football. What's the line? Oh, Buffalo. Yeah, that's right. All right, so it's moved a little bit. Buffalo opened favored by 3. It's now moved to 2.5. So it's Buffalo favored by 2.5. Total 43.5. 43.5 total. Buffalo favored 2.5. Which means in the NFL, usually the home field gives you 3 points. So technically, you could make the argument the Patriots are favored by a half.
I think the Patriots win 24-21.
Man, that was look at that. Coming out with the hot takes. And by the way, I was confident, Dad. I like the decisiveness.
I do. They're going to get a defensive touchdown. It's going to be the difference.
You think McCourty's going to go 99 again? I could see it.
I just want McCourty to tackle a guy when he breaks to the line of scrimmage.
No, that's not McCourty.
Easy, man. Easy.
Man, you coach enough football to know that if a running back doesn't get touched by a lineman,
I know that,
and has a freight train against your free safety, your odds of that free safety making
I
a
was
tackle.
just referring back
You want to talk
that
about
long run at
hold
the
on
end
a
of the
minute.
half.
You want to talk about
when he ran
turtling?
right by McCourty.
You want to talk about turtling? That's a turtle moment for a DB if you got a full speed
Sure is.
running back coming at you. Good night.
How about
Southwest Guilford, Mike.
Oh, don't go there. We're not. This is a Patriots podcast, not a High Point Andrews JV football podcast. Move on.
somebody running back?
That was a fullback, by the way, not a running back. So easy. Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a great read on this game. I mean, I think above all else, I'll give a prediction just to have one, but more so, I think it's fascinating. Just this is the litmus test. Like if if they're competitive and they play a good game, then you got something, and this team could go far. If they're not quite ready for the big stage yet, then I think we will reset expectations. And so I think as a fan, I'm just fascinated by that. And I really have no idea which direction it's going to go. I think, if anything, I trust Belichick to frustrate Allen. I think it was good maybe that the defense struggled with the run last week. I think they'll shore that up. I think Judon didn't play a great game on Sunday, and so I'd expect to see an answer from him. And I think it's a low-scoring, back-and-forth type game. And I'll go 21-17 Patriots. I think it's a closer game than we anticipate all the way through, and I can see them making some plays late to win it.
All right, there we go. So 20, so the 4-point difference there. Pats win and goes under. Dad, you like a 3-point difference, I think, and it goes. You say 24-21.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes over. I'm gonna bet on a couple things. The weather, first of all, that slows down Buffalo, which I think is a good thing. Keeps Allen a little bit more at bay. He's got to throw. He's got to throw to win, which he can. This is gonna sound kind of crazy. What I'm concerned with is the Joe Flacco game plan, where he won a Super Bowl by pass interference the entire time, throwing deep down the field, and Allen's got a friggin' cannon. So I worry a little bit about our guys, especially in the weather. Holding in the secondary. I think this is going to be one of those officiated games that's annoying because it's such a primetime big game where the officials they just lock everything up. So I worry a little bit about that. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to get it. I think big penalties could be a problem for the Patriots secondary, especially against those guys that are that skilled. So I worry a little bit about that. But I didn't think about what you said earlier, Andrew, what you were talking about with McDermott crying last year when they beat the Patriots and just the mind games that he plays. And I actually think if I combine Belichick being able to hold Allen in check, McDermott over preparing and too focusing, making his team focus too much, I actually kind of buy into the hype you're talking about. I think the Patriots may blow them out. So, and I mean that because I think this is a reckoning moment for this team that knows the guys who are on this team that know they had a chance last year that couldn't do it. Now they have a different team, a more talented team, and it's a Belichick coach team, which means they're going to not hear the crap and not worry about all the stuff. And this team's come together and they've glued together. And this was a team that Judon talked about when they were 1-3 that should have been 3-1. They're really good. I do think it goes under, but I think McDermott outcoaches himself. Some special team stuff. Allen has a bad game. The weather holds him in check, and I'm going to take something I'll take 24-3. 24-3, 24-7, something like that. I'll go 24-3. That was my original pick. I think it's going to be 24-3, and we're going to be celebrating at the end. And I actually think that 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now, whenever we play them again, the Bills may they're going to look better in that game. I think this game they're actually going to kind of throw up on themselves and then get it back together in the second game. But that's what I think. 21-3.
I also think it's
24-3. Thank you.
I also think it's a good thing they're playing them twice in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I mean, I depending on what happens this week, and like Andrew said, are they ready for the big spot right now? We'll see. If they're not, they get a chance at them in 3 weeks' time.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, if they're not, the text messages from Doug Lakis are going to be off the charts.
Get ready for that next week.
Sunday. Be quiet.
Andrew, you got that one from the long run at the end of the half. I don't
I
think.
didn't get to watch the game. I was behind on the game and had to.
I just said no words, Mike.
I don't.
Said there's no words for that.
That's not what you said.
That's what I said the second time.
That's what you said the second time. The first time said, "Are you kidding me?" And there was a word before "are you" or after "are you."
Yeah, right.
And before kidding me.
What I really want fans to do is send in your best texts from loved ones or fellow fans game to Patriots Tailgate podcast.
No, let me give the actual email so it doesn't go to some rando that doesn't know what we're doing. Pat's Tailgate Party at gmail.com. Pat's Tailgate Party at gmail.com. I think it's a great idea. And we might have some beauties, to your point, Andrew, lined up. Hopefully not next week, because that means it was a bad day.
They can be happy with it too. They can be, I never forget Zolak with his like unicorns and show ponies. That touchdown. That was fun too. They don't all have to be negative.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Final thoughts, then we'll get out of here. Any final thoughts? Anything?
Team's a lot of fun to watch. It's kind of wild to be in episode 11 and have been doing this the whole season. Think about where we were, 6 weeks ago.
The mood has changed.
10 weeks ago. And I think what Chub said does. I'm right on the line of feeling like it's house money versus my expectations are shifting and we're no longer in house money. I need you to go execute and be good. So this Monday will let me know if I should reassess. Man,
you're such a cerebral guy. I envy you, man, because I'm all in and I'm setting myself up for a divisional round blowout. And then you can read my text on here because I can't do it, man. Like I just get so in, you know what I mean? But that's a really smart, wise way to handle it. I need to learn from that wisdom.
They've won 6 in a row. I think they're still, they're still finding themselves. Now, like you said, they're stepping up against the other team in the East. That's really, really good. And they still can make the playoffs, even if they don't play well Monday night against Buffalo. So at the end of the day, I want to see them in the playoffs at the end of the year. I mean, that's I'm pretty bullish. Like I think I'm in. This is a big test. I mean, Tennessee would have been had they had AJ Brown and Derrick Henry and we were
linebacker core.
We were lost.
They didn't. And so we were at home, and it was still a good win. And honestly, I don't take it for granted that this team can win games it's supposed to win, even when it's ugly. I mean, that was what was missing last year,
right?
For sure. I just, I think this week will tell us a lot about, we can have a fan meter of like 10. This team's going Super Bowl 1. What's our draft pick? And right now I'm probably at about a 7. And I think if they beat Buffalo, I'm jumping up to a 9 or a 10.
There we go. Dad, final thoughts?
No, I agree. It's fun watching them. It's fun looking forward to Sunday again, with anticipating they're going to win. And where, a year ago we were going into Sunday thinking, oh boy,
right.
What's going to happen. But I think it's fun. It's going to be more fun. Like I said, going through Christmas, Thanksgiving and Christmas, knowing that they're a playoff contender and watching the games makes it a whole lot more fun.
Absolutely. All right, guys, episode 11 in the books. Man, big Monday night game. Enjoy it. Have fun with friends and family. And we'll see you on the other side. What happens? Episode 12. Go Pats.